Hello and welcome to Catholic Current, where we give you an update on events affecting the Church in the United States. From Washington, D.C., I'm Mara Moser. We begin with some good news out of Oklahoma. On February 17th, Archbishop Paul Coakley of Oklahoma City dedicated a new shrine to Blessed Stanley Rother.
Blessed Stanley Rother was a farm boy from Okarche, Oklahoma, lived a very ordinary life, and I'm sure he assumed that he would spend the rest of his life on the farm, which is basically what his family had assumed, until right before his graduation from high school, he surprised his family by telling them that he wanted to go to seminary. This same time that his sister surprised the family saying that she would like to go to the convent. So off they went. Fast forward a few years, he was ordained in 1963 for the Diocese of Oklahoma City and Tulsa, served in a few parishes for 5 years, and then volunteered for the Oklahoma Catholic mission in Santiago Atitlan in Guatemala, and off he went in 1968, and he spent the rest of his life serving the mission in Guatemala. The thing that's surprising about his life, this man who flunked out of seminary because he couldn't pass basic ecclesiastical Latin, ended up becoming fluent in Spanish, and even more surprisingly, fluent in a very obscure Mayan dialect called Sutujil, which at the time that he arrived there was not even yet a written language. And yet he was also part of a project that helped translate the New Testament into Sutujil, along with the Mass prayers, created a prayer book for the people. He was a beloved pastor. After a number of years in the mission, things were not going well politically in Guatemala. Civil war was breaking out. And he famously quoted in a Christmas letter back to Oklahoma in 1980, "The shepherd cannot run at the first sign of danger." So he became the first American-born martyr, born in the United States. He became the first U.S.-born parish priest to ever be beatified. His beatification took place in 2017. So we just, as you mentioned, concluded the dedication of a shrine in his honor here in Oklahoma City. As I've said often, people will say, so we have a U.S.-born priest who's a blessed, he's been beatified. What's it going to take for Blessed Stanley to be canonized? And I say in all truth, I say, it's going to take a miracle. And I mean that as people may hear that and think, well, I'm not very encouraged about the possibility of him ever being canonized. It's going to take a miracle. But in fact, that's what it will take. It will take a miracle. That's what the Church requires for canonization of a blessed is a miracle. So I would like people to know that Blessed Stanley Rother needs a miracle. And if they have needs, I encourage the people who might listen to this or view this to bring their needs, their intentions to Blessed Stanley Rother and ask his intercession. Pray for that miracle. Pray with faith. Pray with confidence for his heavenly intercession. We need that. He needs that. The Church needs that.
Visit rothershrine.org to learn more. February 24th marks 1 year since the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Pope Francis spoke about the occasion, which he called a sad anniversary.
The toll of dead, wounded, refugees and displaced persons, destruction, economic and social damage speaks for itself. Can the Lord forgive so many crimes and so much violence? He is the God of peace. Let's stay close to the martyred Ukrainian people who continue to suffer. And we ask ourselves, has everything possible been done to stop the war?
Bishop David Malloy, chair of the Committee on International Justice and Peace, released a statement. He said, "The U.S. Catholic faithful and American people at large have not wavered in their generosity this past year, giving sacrificially and providing critical aid to those whose lives and homes have been uprooted in the scourge of war. We call on the faithful to continue to pray for peace and to continue to give generously to Catholic and other humanitarian organizations that are providing continued and much-needed assistance." The full statement is available at usccb.org. On Saturday, February 18th, Bishop David O'Connell, Auxiliary Bishop of Los Angeles, was found murdered in his California home. we join Archbishop Gomez and the Archdiocese of Los Angeles in grieving his death and praying for the repose of his soul and for the comfort of his family and the many people who loved him dearly. A native of Cork, Ireland, Bishop O'Connell was an active member of the conference, most recently serving as the subcommittee chair for the Catholic Campaign for Human Development, where he continued his work for and with the poor and marginalized. May he rest in peace. Thanks for joining us for this edition of Catholic Current. You can find out more about any of this week's topics by visiting us online at usccb.org. I'm Mara Moser. See you next week.